I'm really struck by this contrast between the crowd and the church, between the community and the religious people, and how this separation has happened in the attitudes and the contrast that we have that are exposed by John's message. And it makes me think of our community around us, the communities in which our churches exist. You know, the church is there for the benefit of the community, and often we would sit back and say, if the church was to close tomorrow, would our communities notice? How much impact would it have if the church disappeared tomorrow? And sometimes it does make me question whether the crowd, the community around us, are any different to the crowds of John's day. Or are the community that we find ourselves in pretty much like the crowd, where they've looked in at the religious systems that are on offer and they've just been put off by it? You know, as you spend time with people, you start to realise that in the world today there is a genuine sense of spirituality. There is a genuine sense of people wanting to have a spirituality and to be spiritual people. But because of the distaste of the Christian message that's come out to people over the years, because of the way the church has often interacted with people, there's not a true picture of what that might be. And the hunger that's in people's hearts, that sense of searching for hope in our communities, often people go elsewhere to find that hope, to find that spirituality. It's almost as if there's a vacuum, there's a God-shaped hole that people are seeking to fill with something. And when they look at the church and don't see good fruit, they don't see a welcomeness, a welcoming nature, when they don't see a humility, when they don't see a friendly nature, when they don't see a sense of being welcomed rather than a sense of having to come in and know the rules. I always think of Mr. Bean. If you've ever watched any of Mr. Bean, and there's an episode of him in a church where he's trying to work out what to do, and he's trying to follow, and he doesn't know when to sit, when to stand, when to sing, when not to sing. And often I think people are a bit like that. You know, if you go somewhere where you don't know, I've been in churches where you go in, you sit in a seat, and someone comes up and asks you to move because you're sitting in their seat. No wonder the world is confused. And when they don't get those answers, they tend to fill the vacuum with a God of their own making and a God in their own image. There's a quote that's said to be from Gandhi, where he very famously is said to have stated, "I like your Christ. I don't like your Christians. Your Christians are nothing like your Christ." And there's an incredible challenge in that for us. Do we dismiss our community like the religious leaders did for the crowds? Are we simply irrelevant to the lives of the people around us? Or actually, are we genuinely asking the question of how can we connect and how can we communicate hope? The challenge for the church today, and the challenge for you and me as part of that church, is how can we find a language that communicates hope to a world searching for hope?